Good evening, students. Let us continue from where we left. We were doing keeping quiet. The first stanza we completed, and let me read out the lines once again. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. I told you that this is an anti-war poem. Here the poet is advocating the importance of silence and introspection. He says that if there will be silence, there will be better understanding. So now children, let us see the last line of the first stanza. We have already discussed the literary devices used. Like one more literary device we find in the last line of the first stanza, that is, and not move our arms so much. Here the word arms is a pun. Now if you know pun, children, pun is a literary device where the same word has different meanings in different contexts, in the same context, or the words sounding similar sounding words, when they are exploited to give the same meaning or different meanings, is called pun. For example, here the word arms, it has two meanings and the poet intends both the meanings. For example, he says, and not move our arms so much. Here the writer is asking people, his readers, not to make a lot of unnecessary movements. So here the moving of hands. With this expression, arms, he is asking us not to move our hands a lot. At the same, he is asking the same word arm has a different meaning, and that is arms means arms and ammunitions, violence, things, arms that is used in wars. So he says here there is a hint that he's asking that if we use a lot of arms, if we are active all the time without thinking, then this may lead to wars where arms will be used. So the same word has two meanings. I'll give you some examples to make it clear. Like a happy life depends on a liver. A happy life depends on a liver. Liver, L-I-V-E-R. Here the same word has two meanings. One is liver, if your organ, liver, is functioning well, so you will be healthy. So a happy life, your life will be happy if your liver is functioning fine. The other meaning of liver here is the person who's living. So it depends on the person to make his life happy. So the liver will decide whether his life is happy or not. So a happy life depends on the liver. So children, there is another example. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Here time flies like an arrow. Okay. And fruit flies like a banana. The word like has been repeated, but in both the situations, it has different meaning. Here time flies like an arrow. Here it is comparing, like it flies very fast, like an arrow. Okay, so like an arrow, it is like an arrow. Whereas in the other case, fruit flies like a banana. Like means liking, to like something. So the word is the same. So it is playing with words. It is a very, like if you ask the purpose of your this pun, it is used for, it is a witty remark. It is an intelligent statement, and it is also used for comic relief. If something is getting very serious, the writers like Shakespeare has used a lot of pun in As You Like It, and other writers have also used in many of the novels for when two intelligent people are talking. Sometimes the sharing of the witty remarks and all, they play with words. It is in a way, it gives satisfaction to the creator, the one who uses the puns, that the feeling of an intellectual satisfaction, intellectual creativity, that kind of feeling the creator has. So now children, this is pun, And we all know that Shakespeare was a master in using puns. Now, children, we will come to the next stanza, that is the second stanza. Here, let me read out the stanza. Without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Let us do the literary devices first. Without rush, without engines. This is repetition. The word without has been repeated twice in the first line of the second stanza. Then come to the next line, the second line, we would all be together. We would. Was sound is being repeated, so this is an example of alliteration. In third line, in a sudden strangeness. Sudden strangeness. Sir sound is being repeated, so this is another example of alliteration. Fishermen in the cold sea. Here, children, fishermen is a symbol of oppressors or tyrants in the cold sea. Would not harm whales. Here, whales would not harm whales. Wood and whales. This can be, though there are two words in between, but still this can be an example of alliteration because the same sound, the consonant sound W, was sound is being repeated. Wood, was sound, and whales. Here, whales again is a literary device because here it acts as a symbol of sufferers or the oppressors. The fisherman here is the symbol of oppressors, and the whale here stands for, it's the symbol of sufferers, those who are oppressed. And the man gathering salt. Here, children, it's not one man. This man represents the whole of mankind. The man gathering salt means doing his job. Would look at his hurt hands. See the last line of the second stanza. His hurt hands. The same her sound is repeated thrice. His hurt hands. Her sound is being repeated. So this again is an example of alliteration. Now, children, let us understand the stanza. Children, when we hear in this poem, the writer is advocating the importance of silence. These days, in the lockdown period, we have understood the meaning of silence. We got time to introspect, like, what am I doing? I'm all the time busy. Is it necessary? So we are in a way pruning and trimming our actions and words. We are restricted, but it's not killing our productivity. I feel that we have become more productive and more creative when we are restricted to remain at homes, because we have got time to think now what exactly we want from our lives. So now there is no rush. Here the poet is asking, when you are still, not doing anything, and you are silent, there is no interpersonal talk. Children, there is no rush. There is no rush to earn your livelihood. There is no need to be very busy. Without engines. Here engines again is a symbol of industrialization, the mechanistic world, this supposedly utopian world where everybody wants to be very busy. Utopian is an ideal world. But because of industrialization and this mechanistic world, things have become very self-centric. Man has, instead of looking out, is all the time self-obsessed, thinks about himself, earning money. It has become a materialistic world where nothing is more important than earning of money. Money is for happiness and peace. If there is no peace and happiness, the money has no meaning. So we have to introspect that. So without engines, without any movement, without any vehicle, without any factory, without any industrial functioning. So, in the absence of all this, we would all be together. So, where there is no movement, we are doing all this to be together, to advance and all. But irony is this is an irony that when we are moving all the time and continuously we are busy, we are not together. This is all for happiness, but it is taking away our happiness. It is taking away our peace. It is to understand self. We cannot understand self. Neither can we understand self, nor can we understand others. So, this again is an irony. And when we are quiet, we understand the importance of silence in a sudden strange place. Suddenly, it is a very strange experience, because now the way we are experiencing, everything has come to a standstill. Everything is quiet. There is no voice, there is no noise, there is no movement. Everything as if like the world is at a still. So, children, so it's a very strange experience. This is the reason why I chose to teach this poem first, because we can relate to the present scenario. Because the world has become quiet all of a sudden, and this experience we never had before. I have never experienced this before. So, it's a sudden experience, and suddenly we see that the world has become one. The globe, it is not only in Allahabad or in India, the whole of the world has become one. So it has brought about unity, togetherness. It has brought about brotherhood. We all are together sailing in the same boat to save our mankind. So fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. So because we are still, if for a moment we are still, the fishermen, the oppressors, like people who harm others, who hurt others, will not hurt others. So in the process, the person who hurts will be at peace. At the same, the person who is oppressed by others will also be having some relief from the pain, from the suffering. So fishermen in the cold sea, they will not go and harm. So here the writer is asking about harmony between the within and without of human beings, as well as other animals, as well as the environment. So we have to be in relation, in connection with our environment, and not harm our environment. Because when the nature is happy and safe, mankind is happy. Our happiness depends directly to our environment. We are facing the repercussions of playing with our environment. So children, would not harm whales. Nobody will harm anybody. And the man gathering salt. Gathering salt means, here one meaning is like gathering salt. The other meaning is everybody is busy in doing his job. He is busy in his work. He is busy earning for his livelihood. So this mad rush to earn money. So the man gathering salt, he will have some time in that moment of stillness. He will have some time to look at his hands. Here, look at his hands doesn't only mean to see the physical well-being of the hands, the hurt he has caused his hands, but also all the time process, all the things he has been doing from the past to attain his goal, whatever he has set for his life. He will think, he will ponder upon it. He will think where I went wrong, the ups and downs of life. Whatever today we suffer and we meet in our lives, we can sit and think whether whatever I did was right or wrong. So this is the time to think, and this will bring about harmony between the mankind and the environment. So we are responsible for our own happiness as well as others, because our happiness is correlated to others' happiness. We cannot be self-centric. We cannot think about our happiness in isolation, because my happiness directly depends on your happiness. So we have to be more human-like. We are human beings, and we have to think about in a more human way, and so this will lead to happiness, and universal brotherhood. With that, we come to the end of the second stanza, and I've explained you the figures of speech. And children, next in the next video, we will continue with the third stanza. Thank you so much.